Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to a part 2 with Mr. Blue. Mr. Blue, are you there?
I am, sir. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Right, let's kick things off. So part 2, we finished part 1 where we were going over them jumping in and out of jurisdictions which they can't do, particularly without our knowledge, and then having to return all the bonds and stuff. So where should we kick things off now?
Same place. Let's go for it.
Right.
I mean, we all know, and it's been well publicised, that if you zap on your QR codes on your bills, it says it goes to the Japanese bond.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That is a securitized instrument that the corporations use to generate money. So what they've done is, we've all seen the film Transformers, and it seems to be poignant that these films are telling us what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they are trying to bring in two worlds, the corporate world, and then put to sleep the real world and take it over. So without our knowledge, the governments, the banks and all the rest of it create securitized instruments called SPVs, sell them on the market, and literally generate trillions, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, this is what we're having to pay back. Because of their misuse of the money, misuse of everything, they're now having to scrabble to pay off. And this is why your electric bill has now got 78% tax on it. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And how they've done that is they brought it onto the corporate profit. So all the suppliers, credit brokers, because they're not actually supplying anything apart from credit, which we've also done, another term that they use within corporation speak, is literally now 78% higher than it needs to be because it has to pay taxes, so that bonds can be paid and honoured. So this is the two worlds that are colliding now. We've got the commercial side, which is your all caps legal fiction. We've gone on to that, and the way that they're doing that, that's a misuse, completely misuse of the birth certificate. Because if you read your birth certificate correctly, it's basically that it is copyrighted and owned by the Crown. Now, the Crown slightly dispute the thing on this because they say they own the paperwork and the copyright to the paperwork. And so what's on the paperwork? The all caps legal fiction. So this is where they split hairs, right? It also states that you can't use the all caps legal fiction.
Does it?
That's how they do it. Yeah, if you look at it, you can't use it, right? Because it's a persona, nothing more. It is not an identifier. Can't be used to create identity. It says it on the document. But what do you need to get your driving license?
Yeah,
your birth certificate.
Yeah.
What do you need to get a passport?
Yeah.
Your driving license, birth certificate.
Yeah.
Right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So this is where they've trapped you into the persona of the all caps legal fiction by telling you that the document cannot be used for identification. What? But every form that they want you to fill out in, you've got to send it. Or you can't have the required documentation that you need. Or is that true?
Yeah.
Right? So this is the con that they've done. So to put you in the corporate world and to make you a legal fiction corporation, all caps, straw man, we all know the millions of terms for it.
Yeah.
Like me and you had a chat after our last conversation. Men and women have gone from men and women to the people, to public, to things, corporations, straw man, citizens. Citizens is the most dangerous word for me in the English book in the dictionary. Because a citizen in their corporate world means slave. You are under servitude to the state to get their benefits. That's car insurance, a driving license, holidays, money, use of their facilities. Their benefits to being a member of the state. But hang on a minute, all these facilities were ours before it were the state's, because we had to pass a test to show that we have the safety and ability to drive a motorised vehicle that can travel at 140 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need a passport to leave this country and go off and enjoy ourselves, according to their rules. And that's how they've done it. We need this. This is for your benefit. It's to stop terrorism. It's to stop this. It's to give you more security. It's a lie. It's to give them more security and be able to securitize us in such a way that it can never be paid back. It's fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're finding today. And this is the two worlds that are colliding. One is the natural man under constitutional monarchy law, and the other one is under corporate policy, rules, regulations. Now, Parliament, running under Roman law, merchant's law, becoming a corporation, because every one of them is registered with a UCC number. Now, I know a lot of skeptics out there saying, oh, but that's not true, it's not this, and it's not that. Well, yes, it is. Because 12 months ago, I set up a dummy company on Companies House. I left it 2 weeks, nothing came through from UCC. So I filled in the UCC form and then got a UCC number. But I had to have, and it states on it, I have to have a company house number before I can get a UCC number. States it clear as day, black and white. Then I put in another one because we challenged the corporation. We want your company's house number, as this is now the evidence from UCC. So I got another friend of mine to set up another dummy company under Companies House, and lo and behold, have a guess what he got? Within 5 hours, his UCC number, because now it's automatically generated. So what that means is that the PSC, person of significant control over the corporation, would have to sign and send in for the UCC number. Now it doesn't, and it relieves them of responsibility. Because we caught them red-handed with the cookie, with the hands in the cookie jar. Now they're saying they're automatically generated. But what they forget to remember is this. We've still caught you in the cookie jar because you shouldn't be on Companies House. You're a public body, not a corporation one.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you're on a separate, covered up version of the Companies House that's top secret and hidden from the public. And now you're a UCC, foreign state registered company, so that you can conduct business at every level of parliamentary, judiciary, courts, police forces, councils, enforcement. Everything is now incorporated. Everything. And this is false accounting. Nothing more than false accounting. And me and you had if we're buying a spoon for £3.20, £3, what's 20% of £3? 60p. But if that same spoon costs £120, how much is that now to the taxman?
Yeah, quite significant.
Exactly. And then what the taxman does is then not only tax the spoon at £120, it now taxes the profits of the company at 20% or 25%. Then it taxed the people that are working for this company while paying for this out of the public purse. It's simply false accounting, completely false accounting. And we're getting mugged at a massive rate every day. Mm-hmm. Then you've got the incompetencies of councils, boards, what have you, and the sheer amount of misappropriation of funds, shall we call it. Mm. Right? I mean, look at what the Farage Doge party have just uncovered. It's all over the internet. And they're coming out with more and more each day. It's absolutely repugnant to where we are with our money. And that's the thing. So now what we've got to understand is we've got two worlds colliding, and everybody's going, how the hell have we got here? We've got no rights. We've got no anything. If we talk to the bank and the bank, the police, anybody, they overrule us. How? Because you are a servant of Rome. You are a citizen. Therefore, you have lost all your rights. You are now a corporate entity, slave, under servitude. They are in the Act of Terrorism, Section 1, 2005, Slavery Act to breaches of 2010, Section 1 and 3.
Wow.
Right? And that's the police force, the parliament, the everything. And the easy way to look at this is what happened in 1995 and 1997.
Okay.
The removal of all Crown agents.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Now, a Crown agent is, it's noting to Crown agents. Well, actually it is. It's a police officer. It is a clerk of the court. It is there to ensure that that court runs under constitutional monarchy, common law, rather than corporate policy. Now, all courts are administrative.
Yep.
They're to conduct business of sorts. Therefore, you have no rights. When do we have to start putting in the rebuttal of 12 presumptions of Roman law from the Bar Guild?
Well, exactly.
No less. Before we even go into trial, to try and attempt to get some kind of trial that's honest or to the rule of law.
Yeah.
It's not. They're all, because there are no constitutional monarchy courts. Not one. Mm. Right? There's no Crown agents, because what happened to the Crown Agents Act, Crown Agents, Sean, in 1997?
Yeah, it was dissolved.
It was dissolved.
Yep.
Where were they transferred to?
The Companies Act.
So that makes all Crown agents companies.
Yep.
Therefore, there is no imperial Crown authority within any court in England. None.
Yep.
Therefore, it can't deal with me and you.
Yep.
It cannot deal with me and you. Now, how did we get here? Because you've registered at your local council, they've got you now as a citizen, which is a third class in English law, common. You are a commoner, which is not even second class. You're third class.
Right.
You have no rights. You are the scum that I wipe off my boots.
Yeah.
That is what it means. Literally. Physically. Right? The police are working under Admiralty Maritime Law jurisdiction. You are now seized as a prize or bounty for them to make money. There's a brilliant young chap. I can't remember how long he did. I'm sure he said 12 years, springs to mind, in the police force. And he was trying to do community policing. He was pulling victims of crime, domestic abuse and everything put to one side and saying, listen, sweetheart, you're in over your head here. You need to sort of think about stuff. We can do this. We can help you here. We can help you here. And what happened? his superior said, pack it in.
Really?
We're not here. He's on the internet saying it. It's not me. Literally, this is him telling me what he's done. And he's literally senior officer. No, it's not how it works. We don't community police anymore. We don't tell them they're in because we want them to kill each other because we get paid. We want them to kick off so we can lock him up and get paid. We want them to do this so we can get paid. Everything is about money. Everything is about not effective policing anymore. It's about creating work. It's about leaving people to be battered. All the other things that we're going off with this, graping and everything else going off. It is literally being run by the other powers.
Yeah. Because
you're in corporate world. So there's it's basically a takeover bid.
Yeah.
Right? It's Sean, it's so shocking. And this is what has got to start coming out. The police are not police officers. Right? They have no powers whatsoever. None. I don't care. They claim they work for the king. Well, actually, he works for us. So that's a non-de-plume. And yes, you are public servants. You take monies from the public purse by fraud and misrepresentation. Because you don't work for the people. You're not under the people's consent. Because you are no longer a Crown officer. Under the Imperial Crown's authority and sovereignty of the people. The governed.
Yep.
Right? That's simple. Nothing else, nothing less. You are not. So therefore, you now are in criminality. Because you now have conducted yourself in what is classed as treasonous behaviour. You have now put yourself in non-feasance in public office, misfeasance in public office, malfeasance in public office, maladministration in public office, and the beauty that ties everything together, misconduct in public office to cause public outrage.
Brilliant.
By not disclosing that you are a corporate body, nothing more, running under a maritime jurisdiction without agreement, authority, or consent to do so. In misrepresentation of your true legal standing, misrepresentation of who you are and your capabilities upon land, because you have none, you're on land. But because the trickery of words and the PACE Act, which is nothing more than an entrapment document that's set up by Parliament to grant delegation of powers. Well, we've already discussed delegation of powers. There is none. You cannot do it. Full stop.
Yep.
So what powers are the police working from? Corporate power. They're under policies, not law. They're under rules and regulations, not law. If there is no victim, there is no crime.
Mm-hmm.
There is no loss. There is no crime. If there is no damage, there is no crime. The Crown can never be the injured party. So who brings all these claims to court? The corporation, company, not the Crown.
And is that because the Crown is a servant to the people?
Correct.
Hmm.
That's it. There's no big mystery. There's no anything. It is as simple as that. The police are running under the wrong jurisdiction. They're running you as corporations.
And I presume the Crown can't bring a case because the Crown is not a living man or woman.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's a public servant. And it is the people. The Crown is the people. The Crown is nothing more than the govern's authority. It is the consent and the will of the people. This is where it comes from on your constitutional rights that Parliament may make suggestions of what is law and what isn't. It is we, the people, that either will accept that as law or rebut it. And it is up to us to now say, no, rebutted. No, we're not having it. No. I'm not being registered to anybody. I'm not being a pleb. I'm not being a third-class citizen that you wipe your boots on.
Yep.
No, not having it. Do mess about writing to your counsel. You write to the Attorney General and you tell him straight, John Bull, remove me from all registers. You have 14 days and you must confirm it. Very simple, very polite, very whatever. I am not. Any use of the all caps legal fiction or deceit in personas will result in, there you go. All authority has been removed.
And we need to do this en masse.
En masse, mate. It literally smash them in the doors. And I mean smash it through the doors. Send sackloads every day. Every day. Day after day after day. Once you start doing that, they cannot have your details on record. Because that's the difference. That's a massive difference.
Yeah.
Right? No. And you can't use the all caps legal fiction. It belongs to the Crown. It's on Crown copyright. It says so on your birth certificate.
Yeah.
Now the Crown try and sort of wiggle and split hairs on this because, oh, no, it's the paperwork that we own. Yeah. But what's on the paperwork? The all caps legal fiction.
Yep.
So who owns the all caps legal fiction?
We do.
No, the Crown.
Oh, yeah.
The Crown copyright until you know what it means.
Got ya.
Right? And, you know, the clue is in the stuff that we've just mentioned. How does a man become 27 different things by being a man? By the trickery of the words. Because what we've got to stick to is I am man. I am the sovereign. I am this. I am that. I do not recognise you at all. You are not working from the Imperial Crown's authority. Therefore, you have no jurisdiction over me. I am not on your register. It is the wrong entity. I'm not incorporated. Unless you can prove I'm incorporated, this is our end. We do not engage with you. We're not under contract with you. You are incorporate. So you being incorporate and me being in the realm of the living, there is no portal for us to communicate. They don't like it. They try not to accept it. Okay, show me where you have authority. I want to see physical evidence of your authority above my Imperial Crown sovereignty.
It's good.
Right? Because Parliament hasn't got it. It is a merchant's Parliament. It is working for the inner city of London. How do we know that? Because every department is what? Incorporated. HMCTS, incorporated. CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service. How about the Corporation Prosecution Service?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's called the CPS? Where has the Imperial Crown gone from the paperwork?
Have they taken it off?
Of course they have. They can't use it. They're incorporated.
Yeah.
We've got the what is it numbers, and because they've now hidden all of the company houses corporation numbers against from the public, that's a crime. Because now we've got them not being in public office.
Oof. Wow.
Because they're acting outside of jurisdiction, outside the authority of the Imperial Crown. The people, they're working from corporate authority, there isn't any, made up, there's no contract. Penny Morgan came out 2 months ago when she did this thing, we're under a moral contract. No, we're not, love. There is no thing as a moral contract. If we were under a moral contract, all Parliament would be dissolved, gone, and sectioned. Right? It would be sectioned because there is no moral compass in Parliament. There's no moral compass in the judiciary. So let me have a little game with you now, Sean, and see if you know this question, these answers. I'm literally going to ask you 5 questions. Right? This shows you how intelligent and how free you are from the system. All solicitors are registered to whom?
The Solicitors Registration Authority, which is the Bar Guild.
Correct. Good start, 10 points. Right. Who are all the barristers registered to?
Yeah, the Bar Guild.
Correct. Another 10 points. Where are all the judges registered to?
Bar Guild.
Where's the Bar Guild?
City of London.
Well, it's actually not quite right, but we'll forgive you. It's called the Inner City of London, the Square Mile, and that is a what?
That is a separate jurisdiction.
It's a foreign state.
Foreign state, yeah.
It's a foreign state, right? So it's now we've got a foreign state in control of the judiciary, and what is the Bar Guild?
Private association.
It's also a what?
Is it
corporation?
Right, got you.
So we've now got solicitors, barristers, judges, all from a foreign state, conducting business in the realm of England under forged paperwork, misuse and forgery of the all caps legal fictions, not signing paperwork because they don't want to take responsibility for it. They're not using the correct imperial stamp. They're using what is laughingly, I call it, the post office stamp, corporation stamp of the Crown. And just because it has the word court in it, everybody presumes that that is some kind of judiciary. Well, it's not. It's a corporate court, which has no standing in the rule of law in England. As to the the Monopolies Act, 1623, no Bar Guild judge is allowed outside or to operate in England without a licence and written consent from all parties. Hello? What?
And so where does the king or the monarch fit into this? Because they have to obviously ask permission in order to enter the inner city of London.
Yeah, well, who says we've got a king or queen?
Well, exactly.
What did the Queen do in 1972? She surrendered all her authority to where?
The EU.
Correct. Which is a breach of the Premierity Act, right? Which Edward E. moved to the Theft Act 1967 and 1969, and then did what to them? Dissolved them. Well, you can't dissolve something that you have no rights to. Mr. Heath, I dare to add this, that, what the coronation oath says is very simple. You will uphold all the laws, inalienable rights, ancient rights and customs. That's your inalienable rights. Right? So what is the Premierity Act? It is ancient right and custom. You cannot dissolve it, especially as that was created before the Parliament's existence. Parliament was not and did not come into force, this Parliament, until 1689, after the Glorious Revolution. So how does it have the ability to remove something that is an alienable right, a right in the law, and it would breach their Constitutional Oaths Act? By granting themselves something that they cannot have. In fraud, deception, to deceive, in treasonous behaviour. because without removing the Premierity Act, they could not join the EEC. So what Edward Heath did in 1960 with the letter from Lord Kilmuir is design a roadmap into the EEC.
And that was document FCO 30/1048.
Yes, and it was also Lord Kilmuir's letter to Edward Heath. You can't join EEC because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, which is the Serenity Act, the Premierity Act 1351, 1391, Supremacy Act 1959, I think it is, or 1951, the Treason Act 1351, the Felony Treason Act, and about another 10 acts.
Brilliant.
That you cannot remove, change, or circumvent. And everybody goes, oh, you can't have those medieval acts. They're out of date, they're out of touch. No, they're not. They were designed specifically to stop what's going off today. And by Parliament subverting them, bringing in an act that was so repugnant, that Parliament found so repugnant, that upon the death of Henry VIII, they banned it, repealed it, smashed it, burnt it, quartered it, but now somehow they fetched it back. And it's called the Henry VIII Clause.
Huh.
Which means they can circumvent the power and the authority of Parliament to bring in acts and statutes that would never get passed.
No way. No way.
Yeah. And this is the repugnancy of Parliament. Parliament has breached every constitutional, common law, right and safeguard protection of the people since 1960. And I don't think we need to go back further than 1960, but we can do. But 1960 is when Edward Heath and his cohorts literally designed the roadmap to betray England.
Traitors.
Simple as that. And the Crown at that time knew what they were doing because it's in the FCO document.
Yep.
They knew that sovereignty would be severely damaged and removed. Lord Kilmuir's letter said you cannot do that. Nobody can. Nobody can delegate power. Nobody. And the Queen did not have the power, the people did. And it states it in Lord Kilmuir's letter.
And was Lord Kilmuir, I see, a Supreme Court judge?
He was the highest judge in England.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Right? And that's why they contacted him to literally give them a roadmap of how the hell they were going to remove things and do things to betray the British people, the English people, right? And to betray every office under the constitutional monarchy, because without the imperial crown's authority, Parliament can do nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they knew it. So what they did it, in 1973-74, when it was exposed that Edward Heath had lied and deceived us, they then had to really scrabble round because EEC membership was now put at risk. And they lied to us again. He was on TV. No, it does not affect sovereignty at all. We still hold sovereignty. And that's why the people held the vote in 1975 to stay in. Because they were lied to. They were deceived.
Yeah,
they were betrayed again. It's all on film. It's all on YouTube.
Wow.
Right, it's there. It's for everybody to see. And then in 2018, have a guess what happened? Sovereignty was not surrendered. But what does Parliament now claim that they hold?
Sovereignty.
Sovereignty.
Yeah.
How did they get it? By taking it back from Europe. Now, this is the same sovereignty that was never surrendered.
Yeah.
Certainly wasn't surrendered by the people. Certainly wasn't surrendered by their imperial or crown authority of the governed, by the governed, to allow this to happen. And if we'd have known the truth, we would not have gone into it. And this is what Lord Kilmuir states as fact. And he says in his letter that if, it's better to be honest now than wait for the backlash that will follow. What a wise man. What a wise man. And they still lied. They still lied and deceived us. That's why they buried it for 30 years. So you are now in a corporate movie, fetched up by corporate rules and regulations, and no court in this land has a Crown officer.
Yeah.
No Crown agent. Therefore, it has no Imperial Crown authority and cannot enforce a toffee crisp wrapper in lawful terms. The judiciary have now acted in such a treasonous manner, it brings in the misconduct in public office, nonfeasance in public office, misfeasance in public office, malfeasance, maladministration, and treason and high treason, because every order that is issued by a court is the crime of uttering common law and common law fraud.
Wow.
Because none of it's signed. They keep saying, "Oh, you just make an appointment to come and see it." We have done. Many people have tried to see these signed warrants. They're not signed. And as to law, they have to be produced, signed, witnessed, and with the Imperial authority. Well, if there's no Crown agents, there is no Imperial authority. None. Because we're not under the Imperial Crown anymore. We're under the Crown of Corporation, Roman statute, monarchy, that's a joke, merchants' law. So that's what Parliament's running under. The police are running under Admiralty, maritime law, and we are now seized, as he's described it. He just doesn't have the rest of the information. The copper that walked out after, I'm sure he said 12 years of service, that he was trying to help people and get people out of the way and stop them hurting each other, and proper police, community bobbying and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And he was told to stop because it wasn't in the corporate office best interest. They wouldn't get paid.
Scumbags.
So the police are now making false arrests. They knowingly and willingly are enforcing corporate warrants that are not signed, they are not legitimised, and they have no true lawful standing.
Oof.
Therefore, they are now in serious trouble because they are not Crown officers, they do not work for the King, and they work for Parliament under what it can only be described is what they believe is delegated powers. But you cannot delegate powers as to the Katona doctrine, and the Queen couldn't even delegate powers to her own Parliament, because Parliament used to be the people's. Wasn't so much the Queen's Parliament, it was the people's Parliament.
Yeah.
But it was called the Queen's Parliament or the King's Parliament. Why? Because they work for us. We are the governed. We rule all of it. We say no, that law is repugnant to us, the law's gone. And that's all we need to use to say. Doesn't apply to me, because I do not accept it. Now it is forced down our throats with vigour, gusto, terrorism, slavery, and you will do as you are told.
Yeah.
Or we will stop your benefits. Your benefits are not to be touched. They cannot be touched because they're not your benefits, they're your entitlements.
Yeah.
We pay into the system, our ancestors have paid into the system to ensure that we are protected. And all that's done is mismanagement, fraud, deception, theft, maladministration, you name it. I mean, Reform's Doge are going through stuff left, right and centre, and they're now exposing millions of pounds worth of fraud, corruption, and literally waste beyond anybody's scale of imagination. This is where our money's gone. The Treasury Department's involved, the Bank of England's involved, Parliament is up to its neck in it. Because the PACE Act comes from Parliament. Parliament tells them they can use the PACE Act. which is nothing more than an entrapment slavery document to incriminate yourself. How can you get charged for something from an original offence that's now been voided to a serious offence, to a more serious offence, because you didn't break the law? So we'll just go for clarity purposes. You get a speeding fine, Sean, and they say if you weren't the driver, please supply their details. Correct?
Yep.
Sorry, Toshi. So they then ask you, Toshi, to supply the details of the driver. Now, as far as I can read in the law, that is two things. It is one, instigating a crime, because you cannot give somebody else's personal details without their express written consent as to GDPR rules.
Yeah.
Now, if we're corporations, I need your permission to give your details. You need my permission to give my details. And it has to be in writing. But so they drop the original charge because it's void, because they've run out of time, and then bring in a second, more serious charge of failing to give evidence. Well, you can't give evidence because that would be them commissioning a crime for you. To break the law, to give somebody else's details without consent, permission.
Got ya. Cheeky bastards.
And you cannot, in law, bring another crime when the original case has gone. So if they're out of time with the original case, for whatever reason, or they've not conducted it in the proper manner, it's void. Too many irregularities. It's called irregularity in law.
Very good.
Right, so you cannot, and let's not forget, the old Bill of Rights comes marching in. There can be no grant of fine or forfeiture without the conviction of a judge, of the jury of your peers. So when did it go to court? Where is my jury? And where are my peers?
Very good question.
Also brings in then the Magna Charta. I think it's 39. No man can be seized, be imprisoned, have his or his life ruined on the word of another man without evidence. Where's the evidence? Where's the injured party?
Yeah, brilliant.
Where's the loss or damage?
Yeah, absolutely.
I am not incorporated. We do not accept your standing. We do not accept who you are, because we know who you are. You're a corporate criminal body in the terrorism behaviour, in the act of terrorism, the act of slave master, under the foreign jurisdiction of maritime admiralty, outside of the water, in deception, deceit and trickery, that I am now a prize or bounty as to the Naval and Distributions Act that's gone on to be the Transport Act.
Right. And who is it that is ultimately responsible for perpetrating this fraud?
Parliament.
And who runs Parliament?
The parliamentarian. Well, to be fair, this is the laughing bit now, because this is where I don't want to get too deep into this. But there are, and it's been confirmed by loads of politicians, there are shadowy figures, literally puppet masters, dealing Parliament. Parliament does not work for us, right? Because as soon as we brought these jokers in, they switch from being us. I mean, this is what makes me laugh.
So it's basically the Institute for International Affairs at Chatham House.
Well, that's what, we all got our opinions and we've all got our things. I think it also stems from the inner city of London. I also think it instigates from, shall we say, the Privy Council. There's rogues running through the whatever, don't want to name anybody at the moment, but there are several key players that have got a lot to answer for. Like you cannot have a judge appointed. The Monopolies Act is very clear. You cannot monopolise anything. So we've now got solicitors, bar, barristers, bar, judges, bar, and nobody can have a trial without biased. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Because there's no imperial crown authority to any court. All there is parliamentary business. Merchants parliament. Running under Roman law. You are in slavery and servitude. If you breach a policy, we will fine you and we will pay off our debts. If you don't do this, we will fine you and pay off our debts. You don't pay this bill, we will fine you and pay your debts. False accounting. What is going off?
Yeah.
This is why the purse has no money. It is being literally skanked by Parliament and all its cohorts. This is why we literally turned over last year £1.18 trillion, and come the 5th of April, we were in debt. What? Excuse me? Now, we've all got an opinion on money and all the rest of it, but as far as I'm concerned, on this thing, if money was real, how the hell are we in debt from minute one of day one of the new financial year? Because once again, Parliament decides to put us into debt by making promises to pay other people's debts, forfeitures, and give it away. Like if Ukraine cannot pay its debts, who pays them? We do. We, the people, pay for somebody else's war. It's not our war. We've been lied to from minute one, day one, issue one. It's nothing to do with us. It's between two countries 1,000 miles away. But yet we've been tasked in with this and paying for supplying them with all sorts of weaponry that's against the law, by the way, to create a war that might bring us into it for no reason. We're not the police of the world. We haven't got the jurisdiction, and Parliament has not got the jurisdiction or the consent of the governed to give away our money. It is only there is Parliament for the benefit of the people of England. Nothing more. So why are we getting fined for non-crimes? Getting arrested for silently praying because we're inside of an area that's been made up by a council that has got no authority to make such a rule. What? We have now no representation anywhere. Therefore, without representation, there can be no what?
Taxation.
Stop paying your tax, ladies and gentlemen. Stop paying your bills straight, John Bull. 78% we are being taxed, or shall we say, the corporations are being taxed on them supplying us credit. Now, that's why your bills are at a massive record high, but yet the gas market has gone through the floor. The diesel petrol market gone through the floor. It's not £100 a barrel anymore. It's not £120 a barrel anymore. Check it out. Don't take my word for it. Check it out. It is absolutely insipid, is this. It's repugnant in every which way you can think of. This is now, honestly, this is what comes into literally treasonous behaviour. It's misconduct in public office, because they're no longer acting in public office, they're no longer in public office, they're no longer crown servants under the imperial crown, and they are no longer governed by the governed. They don't have our agreement, and they believe that they can do what the hell they want. They can take people's home for the fraud on mortgages. They can hire police corporations to conduct business with them and assist them and arrest people to create money for themselves, extortion, racketeering, without disclosing their true identity, which is a corporate body, running under the corporate rule of Roman merchants' law in admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. Every police officer will now have to surrender his bond. Every police officer now can be sued in his individual capacity. Every judge can now be sued and removed by the people. It's that simple. It's wake up. Stop looking for a big mass conspiracy of, oh, you're all lunatics. Well, we're not. That is the true state of affairs in England today. Our freedom of speech has been violated. Our rights of constitutional monarchy have been violated. Our ancient rights and customs have been dissolved because it's inconvenient to the corporation. Betty Boothroyd said what in 1993? You're famous for that, Sean.
1993.
Yep.
She said 1993.
Is it? I'm sure it's either 93 or 96.
I'm thinking of Betty Boothroyd in the
House
Metric
of
Martyrs
Lords.
case.
No. Well, no, it's Betty Boothroyd on the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights cannot be removed, touched, or anything, and is the hierarchy of English law.
Brilliant.
And it cannot be removed because it is inconvenient to a corporation.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what they've done. What they've done is they've not removed those per se, because they were getting caught on what they were doing with acts and statutes and everything else, and getting called out on it, and we were demanding them back, right? So they had to stop that attack. But now they've gone on the fact that, hang on a minute, we've got an easier way of this. We'll trick everybody. We'll put everybody under the all caps fiction and bring them into the corporate realm. Because what does Black's Law Dictionary say about the person?
Yeah, it's a corporation.
What does it say about the human? You're a sea monster, dead, lost at sea, nonsense, whatever it is. Black, I can't remember what it actually says, but it's quite ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it ties in with the effect that we're all corporations. We're no longer flesh and blood living men and women. And sovereignty no longer exists because Parliament has taken it back from the EU that was never surrendered, and they hold it. So they now hold all parliamentary rights and and our sovereignty, and they're not going to return it. Well, it never left us in the first place.
Yeah.
We never agreed to surrendering it to a foreign state. If you had not removed illegally, unlawfully, and with treasonous behaviour the Premiery Act in fraud and deception without telling the people what you were doing while you were conducting business behind the scenes, then you would not have been able to go into the EEC. We would not be having the problems that we are having now. Our fishery rights cannot be surrendered. It isn't his to give away, it's the people's. Brexit was about one thing only: securing our laws, our borders, and removing Europe from our rule books, statute books, everything. And all that's happened, I don't care if it's Labour or it's Conservative, and it's the order of precedence, which now states that UK statutes and EU law, rules, regulations are above all common law. Now, we were supposed to get out of EU, so why are we adopting their rules? Because that's all they run on, is rules.
Yeah.
It's not laws. It's regulations. We are under, this is what I say to people, we are under very significant differences. We are under the rule of law by constitutional agreement. And common law safeguards protections and rights that no parliament can ever take off us.
Yeah.
But that is what they've done. They've started to take them away. They've started to repeal them. They started to do whatever. They're too old to do this. It's nothing to do with Parliament. Not a thing to do with Parliament. Doesn't have the authority, does not have the jurisdiction. They are the people's rights, the governed, that grant Parliament the right to exist.
Yeah.
Without us, Parliament does not exist. That's the strength of the imperial crown and the authority of the governed. So all this, I do not consent. Well, one, who is I?
Yeah.
Two, what are you not consenting to? And three, remove your authority, not your consent, because you are not in a position to give us consent. You are either a third party, what did we say, commoner, right? You're the lowest of the low. You're something that they scrape off their shoes.
Yeah.
Or you are a dead corporate fiction, straw man, sea monster, whatever.
Yeah.
Person, citizen, whatever suits their jurisdiction to nail you for theft and fraud in your assets, money, time, and energy.
Got ya.
That's how simple it is. We do not give you authority. This is not a case for me. It is a case for the Crown to deal with, as you have brought their entity to life, not mine. Bye-bye.
So if we were going to send an official letter in, would that go to the Prime Minister?
No, he's a puppet. You send it to the Attorney General. You send it to the Attorney General, and you tell him straight, you will no longer be registered. Remove me from all registrations. All. I am the living man, sovereign. I hold my own sovereignty. I never surrendered it. I am telling you now, remove my personas from every registration. I am not a citizen. And that gets you removed. If you send it to council, they'll ignore it because they've been told to ignore it.
Right, so...
Right, they come up with some secondary legislation that doesn't exist, that doesn't say or mean what they try and make out it does.
So we've got Lord Hermer as the incumbent Attorney General, and he was the one that recently made a comment on I think it was reform being far right or something like that. Something ridiculous, a ridiculous opinion.
Yeah, but look, this is what they're trying to do. Look, I'm not being awful. There's a thing out there literally doing the rounds at the minute, and this is Nancy Pelosi from over the water literally saying how they rubbish people in America. Literally, they will target Sunday, wrap them up in lies and deceit, make it headline-worthy news so that the news reports literally think it can be used in everything else because it's coming from a supposedly reliable source, you know, and they know it's not, and then they let them run with it. That then destroys the credibility, the reputation of that person, and literally it's political wrap-up.
Yeah, they call it a wrap-up smear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? They're telling us what they're doing. They did exactly the same, as far as I'm concerned, with a young gentleman that's just been released again.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing it again all over the place, and now they're going to attack reformers, far right, and everything. And all it's doing is showing you why all the councils are bankrupt, that you've got no money, and the fact that we're paying off the bonds, and what's left is being abused through misadministration, maladministration, and just sheer,
criminality.
you know, well, you can call it, I mean, you know, until it's proven, but it's suspected criminality and abuse of trust.
High treason.
You know what I mean? Yeah, well, it's treasonous behaviour. It's, you know, treasonous behaviour, which is basically treason. Because if you're not competent to do the job that you've been voted in for, you've got to leave.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? If you can't do your job, get out. Let somebody who can do the job get in to do it. And this is what's being demonstrated by the Reform Party. They're trying to bring in now a Trump-style, shall we say, accountability.
Yeah.
Well, accountability of all these public officers. Because don't forget, we've got how many council workers? How many officers in public office? And they're all lying to us. They're all now not telling us the corporations. When we fetch it in, I don't believe the stuff off the internet. Hang on a minute. I don't. It's there in black and white. I've just downloaded this from Duns. So to have a Duns number, you've got to have a company number. So I want your company number. I also want your VAT number. Do they give you it? No, they ignore you like you're a lunatic. Because they put you back then as the pleb. You are the commoner. Therefore, you have no rights and you will do as you're told, and we don't have to speak to you. What? That is exactly what they're doing. Or you are the all-caps legal fiction corporation that's dead. We are the public body. And this is what I mean by sliding jurisdictions. Wherever you stand, they will slide to another one. Wherever you come from, they will slide to another one. Wherever you go, they will slide to an opposite one. And this is, no man can stand in two jurisdictions. Nobody can stand in two states. And this is exactly what they're doing. They're standing not only in two states, but in two different worlds. They're standing under corporate policy and then claiming that they're a public body. Well, you're not. Because you don't answer to us. We've got to put these R's in and everything else. And then you try and send an entrapment document saying, oh, we don't have to answer that unless you give us your identification. Hang on a minute. You've been in communications with me for months now, and now you want to know who I am? Are you serious? And that is all that is that you give your identity as your persona. That's what the P stands for on your license. It's what the P stands for in your passport. Persona, which is quasim. Quasim just in persona and just in persona. When in actual fact, when you go into that sort of jurisdiction law, it is you are a in rem, jus in rem persona. You are the sovereign man, the living man. It's you against the world. And that's what they don't like. Once you know, as you know, Sean, I'm a fairly big guy. I will fight anything. It's in my nature. Win, lose, or draw, I don't care. Right? You come at me, I'll knock the shit out of you. But it's like anything else. Now I believe that the pen can be mightier than the sword. And we now need to just refuse. Just literally send all this. No. We're removing all authority and all sovereignty of the people. Simple as that. Right, and now you go to the police. Here you go. We're indicting you. We want your bonds. We want all of them. We're all making a claim against you. Because you violated one man's constitutional rights. You've violated every man's constitutional rights.
Yeah.
We're making a claim against all of you. You should not be on our streets. You have taken from the public purse by being an incorporated corporation.
Yeah.
You're in fraud. You're caught. There is no excuse. You're gone. You're all sacked. We no longer have confidence in you. Therefore, our consent has been removed. Because what did the police do? Police by consent.
Got ya.
Right? Therefore, they can no longer do anything because they've got caught every 6 ways to Sunday.
Wow.
It is fraud from the beginning to the end. And when Parliament say to you that we work for you, lie after lie after lie, they're now coming out and saying our mandate is not a contract. Yes, it is. It is what you've told us you're going to do when you're in office and what you won't do. And then this is what makes my blood absolutely boil, mate, is the fact that when they get into office, they do exactly what they want because they now turn from the people's representative to the merchants' parliament.
Yeah.
We no longer exist, not for another 4 or 5 years. They're not interested in me and you. They go straight in, and how much can they take? They've all got multiple companies. They've all got this, that, and the other. We've seen it, and I've demonstrated it on I don't know how many podcasts now, where you've got chief police commissioners literally having 30-odd companies, from filling, fire extinguishers up, fitting alarms, boarding houses up, and it's all done by the police. When did the police become a one-stop shop for, we'll pay you £80 an hour, £89 an hour to go around and kick somebody's head in?
Yeah.
And steal somebody's property? Well, when was it that we could get a warrant and not that was completely fraudulent, and that Parliament have made a rule that overrules the rule of law to say, oh, we don't need warrant, we don't need his signatures now. You can't have them. You can't have these signatures. What? We're not going to use the imperial stamp anymore. We're going to use the post office stamp for business. Excuse me? And we've all literally fallen asleep at the wheel.
Yeah. I've got just from what you were saying there and what we're dealing with. I've just got a quote here, passage from the Bible related to John 8:44, and it states here, Jesus said to them, "If God were your Father, you would love me, for I have come here from God. I have not come on my own. God sent me. Why is my language not clear to you? Because you are unable to hear what I say. Because you belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. For when he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies." And that's what it's like, mate. That's exactly what they're doing.
Correct, mate. It literally, that's why, we had it I would think a couple of months ago, where a guy went into court and the court had to be adjourned. And literally, the judge went in there and and he went straight simple, just for the record, sir, just to be non-disrespected, Did you read my evidence? Did you read the case bundle? And he went, it didn't make any sense. And he said, did you turn it over? And the judge just looked at him. What do you mean by that? Turn it over. Because I'm really sorry, but now I'm going to have to object to you being in this case, because you can't read English.
Wow. Unbelievable.
You have not got the mind of thought to be honest within this case. And the judge had to excuse it. We want you excused. We're not going to have this case tried before you. You don't understand English.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's a devil's handbook trait.
Yeah.
If something hits home that you can't defend, it doesn't make sense. Turn it onto its page where you can't read it and go it backwards.
People
and
need to
read it backwards.
realise. People need to realise just how big this conspiracy is. They wouldn't believe
It's not
it.
a conspiracy, mate. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually the fact. It's hidden in plain sight.
Mate.
All courts are now administrative, but yet they're now, because we've found that out, and it's a breach of Halsby's law, Stokes' law, Blackstone's law.
Yeah.
All the laws that no administrative court has any jurisdiction in the hands of England. They're now trying to go back to, we're magistrates' courts. Well, no, you can't be a magistrate court, because where's the Crown agents? Now they're coming up with, oh my God, what do we say now? This is why when that Shana E. Jones sends her letters out, what does she sign it as? Head of Legal and Professional Services, formerly of the Clerk's Office. Because the Clerk's Office has been shut down. There's no Crown agents anymore. The CPS, no Crown agents, none.
Got 'em, mate. Yeah, I mean, when I said conspiracy, I literally meant it's a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, literally, these people are conspiring to commit high treason.
Yeah, it's connivance on every step of the way, with even collusion involved, because they're all of the same company,
the
United Kingdom Corporation. It's that simple.
Yeah.
They're all under the same corporation. They are just different sections, different divisions of the same corporation to extort money at any opportunity.
Yeah.
Any infraction, any rule breaking that you break is now going to cost you £1,000 minimum. And if you don't like it, we're going to send the heavies round to come and take it under something that you can't do it from, because the Goods Act is literally, it's goods for sale. It is not personal property. It is not possessions. They cannot take your possessions. It's trickery, it's deception.
Yeah.
We'll go on. I mean, Wayne Layton's just done a case in a magistrate. I thought it was a High Court, that one that we were talking about earlier. And basically, the courts now are trying to backtrack on it, because they've realised what it's done. They've got the bailiffs to come in and say, well, we got our authority from the council. The council have now had to admit, well, we don't have the authority to give them to do what they're doing. And they're now trying to say that this is not in the public interest.
Oof.
So Wayne will be on shows left, right and centre saying, please sign this document and send it in to the courts. That it's now case law, it goes in and it's binding. That no bailiff can attend your property with a fake warrant. They're all fake.
Yeah.
Liability orders have been removed from law since 2003. Right? It's simple as that. You cannot enforce something in law that doesn't exist in law. They're now trying to switch this, that the process is still available in law, but the paperwork's not. Excuse me? That doesn't make sense. Right? And now that they're saying, because the council's just got caught for the breach of the 1888 Local Governments Act, Section 79, subsection 3, can have no judicial authority whatsoever. None. It cannot produce paperwork. It cannot administer oaths. It cannot do this. It cannot do that. So why are they? Why are the courts ignoring it? Well, now they've got them to the quick. So it's harassment.
Yeah.
It comes under harassment. CPR 12. I mean, it's in there. We went, watch it. Please watch the documentary. The podcast.
Oh yeah, all right. I'll put a link to it at the bottom of this one.
Yeah, it shows you that what I'm stating is not. It's not conspiracy theory. It's not anything. It is literally fact. They cannot enforce something that doesn't exist in law.
Yeah.
And it doesn't exist in law. It states it in their own handbook. It states it.
Yeah.
So I know everybody's going for this, that, and the other, and coming at different angles.
Okay, can you?
But the most simple thing is the bailiffs have caused harassment by trying to enforce something that cannot be enforced in law.
Yeah.
Right? It's simple as that. And the magistrates' courts are now realising, oh shit, we've just done that because we had no choice to. But if that now becomes absolute case law, every bailiff, every magistrate that's issued a fake liability order is done for.
Yeah,
The HMCS are done for. Because they've been sending these to bulk centres which have no solicitor, no legally trained person, and no judge, and no clerk, because there is no clerks anymore. This is the trickery and deception. When you go into a court, the clerk turns magically into a legal advisor. Well, a legal advisor is there for the corporations. It's what corporate rules are now in place.
Wow. We've been going for 1 hour 15 minutes. There might be a good time to call it and maybe do a part 3 if we need to.
Oh my God! Yeah, no problem. Like I said, that's good, mate. For me, I mean, at the end of the day, I've got the message out. It's simple. It's there for everybody to see.
Brilliant, mate. All right then, people. We will wrap it up there. I'm looking forward to uploading this as soon as this call is finished, and then when I've uploaded it, I'll send it over to you and we can share it out.
Perfect. Lovely.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.